Let me tell you a little bit about my personal journey to Silicon Valley from India 22 years ago. Growing up in India, like many of you, I got my first telephone when I was 12. In my case, it turned out to be a rotary phone, so it wasn't that great for selfies, but I still loved to call my friends, play with it, and sometimes take it apart. That telephone cemented my fascination with technology. I had a deep desire to be part of this exchange of ideas. I remember in my parents' house in Chennai reading about the invention of the transistor at Bell Labs. Of course, that initial invention helped found what became known as Silicon Valley, and out of that came companies like Fairchild Semiconductor and Intel and all the computers and software that we all use today. You can draw a direct line from that invention to the technology that powers your Twitter feed or your WeChat messages today. I still vividly remember as a teenager jumping onto a crowded train at Chennai and traveling for 24 hours to attend my school at IIT Burchard. And that opportunity changed the course of my life. That's why I came here. And coming to the global hub where this was all happening, I felt welcome and embraced. People didn't care where I came from, only my ideas and hard work mattered. Great ideas in technology no longer come from just Silicon Valley. They can and do come from anywhere. It's clear that Silicon Valley is now as much an idea as a place, and it is an ideal of what's possible. I know how much hard work it takes to pursue your dream of building a business. The long hours, time away from family, the rejection, the ideas you know are brilliant but just don't seem to catch on. There is a great quote from Thomas Edison that does the best job of defining what it's like to be an entrepreneur. I have not failed, I have just found 10,000 ways that don't work. I remember reading about that and thinking, it's the idea that matters. It didn't matter where you come from or what your background is. One revolutionary idea, one brilliant invention can unleash other entrepreneurs to revolutionize industries in ways you could never predict. The people who built the transistor in many ways enable the entrepreneurs who are using incredible processing power to analyze data and diagnose cancer. The possibility that anyone with the right idea at the right time can have an impact on others that is no longer limited to a single place. It's possible everywhere.
There is thought and there is emotion. People think these two things are saying different things. They're not saying different things. The way you think is the way you emote, isn't it so? Right now, if I think, oh, she's the most wonderful person on the planet, I just have to think. Then my emotions become sweet towards her. Now I think she's the most horrible creature on the planet. Now my emotions become nasty. Yes or no? I cannot think she's horrible and have sweet emotions. I cannot think she's wonderful and have nasty emotions, isn't it so? But today I thought she's the most wonderful person and my sweetness was flowing. Suddenly she did something tomorrow that I don't like. I think she's horrible. Thought is agile, it changes direction just like that. Emotion is little sappy. It takes time to turn around. So that period you struggle as if there are two dimensions of thing happening. Because thought is saying one thing, emotion is still going sweet because it takes time to become nasty. Everybody struggles, but it catches up or no after some time. Hello? Today you thought she's wonderful, sweetness was flowing. Tomorrow she did something you don't like, you thought she's horrible. The thought is clearly saying she's horrible, but emotions are struggling because they can't turn quickly. They take time to turn. But after a week or 10 days or 2 months, depending on how deeply you're engaged. After some time, emotion catches up with the thought. Emotion also says, yes, she's nasty, horrible, so let's be nasty to her. So, they're not speaking different languages. One is agile, another is little slow in its corners. So, it looks like they're speaking different languages. When it comes to what you want to do, you must think clearly, it's very important. Thinking clearly means, the question is not about what will get me this, what will get me that. Is your life precious to you? All of you I'm asking. Your life, is it precious to you? So before you invest this life into something, you must look whether today if I invest my life into this, after 25 years, will it still mean a lot to me? After 50 years, will it still mean a lot to me? At the end of my life, if I turn back and I look, will I be proud of this or will I be ashamed of what I'm doing right now? Doesn't matter what other people say. But you should not do anything that you will feel ashamed of, isn't it so? Huh? It doesn't matter, people say so many things. Everybody has an opinion, it's their business. But you don't do something that you will feel ashamed of, isn't it? Then you're turning against yourself. Somebody turns against you, you can leave them and go somewhere else. If you turn against yourself, you'll have to live with it forever. So, this is all you have to look at it. Something will get you money, something will get you comfort, that's not the point. What you choose to do, will it give you a life? When I say give you a life, are you just trying to make a living or are you trying to make a life out of this? It's important. Making a living is not an issue. A worm, an insect, a bird, an animal, all of them are making their life, making a living, isn't it so? They're even making a life out of it, but definitely they're making a living. So making a living with such a big brain is not an issue. Earning your food is not an issue, making a living is not an issue. Only problem is you want to live like somebody else, that's an endless problem. I want to live is not a problem. I want to live like you, this is a problem. So, it is important, if you consider your life as a precious life, you must make sure you make a wonderful life out of this. Whatever opens up in that direction, that is the thing you should do. But when you're under the pressure of peers, somebody is saying, I'm going to America, somebody says, I'm going to the government job, somebody says, I'm doing this. One thing that all of you should do before you make big decisions in your life is withdraw from these pressures of peers, professors, parents, everybody. Just spend 3 days to 1 week by yourself. Look at it, what is it that you really want to do? Not under pressure from other people. What does this life want to do? Do that. It doesn't matter what other people think about it.
Say something right here. This might make you all think. Life is not really long. Let's say the average person 30 years old. If you're 30 years old, you are not but about 7 years old. How can I prove it? Add up all the 7, 8, 9 hours you slept for 30 years. Out of 30 years, out of all the nights, last night when you went to bed and woke up this morning, you don't remember a thing. You've been unconscious for about 8 years. If you're 30 years old, you slept about 8 years. Okay. How much traveling have you done in 30 years? The television station to home, to another country, to another city, to school, to church. You probably traveled 2 years of your life and spent just getting back and forth to where you're going. So there's 8 years of sleeping, 2 years of traveling, that's 30 years out of your life before you accomplish anything. How long do you sit in school in America? We stay in school from the 1st grade to 12th grade, same year. 6 hours a day. 6 hours a day for 12 years, break it down, you sit in the classroom for 3 years without leaving. Okay, 2 years of traveling, 8 years of sleeping, 3 years of school. How many movies have you worked on? How many restaurant managers? How much entertainment? How many movie theaters, live plays, baseball games? Probably 2 years of entertainment. By the time you have children, by the time you have made a way for your children, by the time you pay for your home, you're pushing 60 years old. So life is real short. So you add up all your traveling, add up all your sleeping, add up all your school, add up all your entertainment, you've probably been half your life doing nothing. So what am I? I'm 35 years old. 30 more years, I'll be 65. We don't have no more influence. We can't do nothing much at 65. Your wife will tell you that. So what I'm saying, when you're 65, ain't too much more to do. So did you know I'll be 65 in 30 more years? In those 30 years, I have to sleep 9 years. I don't have 30 years of daylight. I have to travel back to America, take 6-7 hours. All my traveling, probably 4 years of traveling the next 30 years, about 9 years of sleeping, television, movies, entertainment, about 3 years of entertainment. Out of 30 years, I might have about 16 years to be productive. So it's how we can all break individual lives down. What am I gonna do in the next 16 years? What's the best thing I can do?